no shame.
Hey, and we are live, motherfuckers. Coming out the gate swinging on y'all bitches. Welcome to Show No Shame. As always, my name is Benji Phillis. I'm joined by the other two entities of the SNS crew, Jken and Carter Wilkes.
What up?
Yo!
Yeah, and tonight we actually have a special guest, our friend from way back, Taylor Robinson, who's a jeweler in LA. And works with Stephen & Co. in Beverly Hills, a Beverly Hills jeweler. And yeah, so essentially we just wanted to dive right in and just, pick your brain about, the jewelry game, your background.
Yeah.
And essentially, how you found the experience, through, your years working in this industry here, which is sort of, I think, one of the epicenters in the US as far as, that industry is concerned at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. This is great to be here. And
Thanks for coming, dude.
yeah, man. Cheers. We definitely go way back. I mean, it's been a minute since I've sat down at a table with all you guys, so it's good to be here. And so as far as my background is concerned, grew up in the Palisades, which is how I know all of you guys.
Yeah.
And yes, sir. And then I went on to U of A for college, 4-year, degree at the best school in the U.S. Bear down. So yeah, had a great experience there. I studied psychology and business.
Psychology?
Yeah, kind of like two relevant majors that pertain to life and people.
There we go.
I'm a good, people person. So, and obviously business minded since I was day one. So yeah,
Sweet.
Finished up there and I actually did a startup for a couple of years.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What was it?
It's called Design Your Dorm.
Oh, cool.
And basically with the business background, me and my best friend Bryce, we're kind of trying to figure out, all right, what's our next step? Graduated college.
Have you patented this idea? I don't want you to say this and have some listener.
More to come, because yeah.
That's a great idea. I should hop on this before.
There you go.
Swiper, no swiping.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for about 2.5 years, we pursued this startup idea, and it was honestly the best experience I've ever had as far as firsthand business. Like you can, have a undergrad degree in business and learn, a whole textbook scenarios and what to expect in the real world, but starting your actual own business, I mean, even like your podcast, right? It's like, until you jump into it, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we
What the moves are.
We gotta have a segment on here called "What's Your Side Hustle."
For
That
real.
would be a pretty good
that's
segment.
a really good idea.
Really,
I mean, that's sort of an
yeah.
underlying motive of this podcast. And, that's why, hearing that you had a startup and had the ambition to go after that rather than, say, coming into the straight up business sector of working, say, in a cubicle or 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with that.
I was about to say,
But it takes a lot, more cojones to take that leap of faith and feel. And it's great that you felt as passionate about this as you did at the time,
Totally.
But sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And actually, the whole basis of the idea of the startup, Design Your Dorm, was freshman year of college. I went to Arizona, out of state for the first time. You're 18 years old. You have your own spot, and you're moving into this dorm room. We have no idea how big it is, what's gonna fit. Mm-hmm. So I, along with my friend Bryce, we brought all this stuff. It was too big, and had to trash it, kind of figure out what to do, put it in storage. And our parents obviously flew out with us, as well, taking a minivan to and from Target, Bed Bath, and obviously everyone else on campus is doing the same thing.
Right.
So it was the worst, so the whole weekend is spent literally moving into your dorm.
for sure.
And I remember just kind of sitting back and being like, this is so exciting. I don't care. I'm going to college. There's hot girls everywhere. I can't wait to move in and make my dorm room the best thing ever. But I'm like, there's got to be a better way to move into the dorm rooms. They don't really give you much information on their housing websites and whatnot.
There's no system to it. It's just here's your room.
Here's your room. Here's your key. And then until you open that door, you don't really know
It's throwing you into the
Right.
deep end.
Yeah.
Straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Needless to
That
say,
is college.
we made it happen. We moved in, we returned some stuff, but it was just a hassle. So that was kind of what formed my idea, though. For future, I was like, there needs to be a way, and to actually see your dorm room ahead of time.
Right.
So fast forward to a great college experience. we ended up designing our dorm rooms just fine, but it was a hassle. And post college, Bryce and I were kind of sitting down trying to figure out what to do. And as you mentioned earlier, the whole like 9-to-5 job is great, and it's for some people, and
Sure.
it wasn't quite for me. I've always been kind of like wanting to be my own boss and create my own hours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you need an idea, right? So I kind of reflected back on the whole moving process, and that's kind of how Design Your Dorm was started.
Cool.
And
Hell yeah.
I told Bryce about it, and he was like, "Man, this is actually a really good idea." I was there with you during that process. It sucked. It was you don't know what to expect with your room, what to bring, and all that stuff. So upon telling Bryce, he told his dad, who's a financial advisor, retired,
cool.
always looking for new ventures to invest in. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, you're gonna tell your dad about it. That's great. Next day, he tells me, he's like, if you don't pursue this, my dad's gonna go ahead and figure out how to do it himself.
Right, because
So I was like,
genius idea.
so a light bulb went off, and I was like, well, this looks like my next move,
Sweet.
So Bryce and I, after a few chats, decided to literally undertake this whole startup idea. And it was, obviously like any startup, ups and downs. There's one day you wake up and you're like, this is the best thing ever. The next day you're like, this sucks. This is so hard. So we had a lot of ups and downs, but I think the main takeaway was that it's a big idea and it takes a lot of resources. It takes time. We gave it 2.5 years, a few different development teams to make a final product of a full-blown website. And the main part of the website is a 3D design tool. So you basically, you see your future college dorm room in 3D.
Oh, great.
And then you can click like posters from a store and drag it into your room and design your whole room.
And kids
Yeah.
were like, I've been doing this on Sims for years.
It's funny you mentioned that. So many people are like, this is basically Sims for college.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But you get to walk into it in real life.
Correct.
That's awesome.
So, and then you can order it and have it delivered to your room. So future college kids can just like design it, purchase it, deliver it to their room and start college versus like, a full weekend of Target, Bed Bath, back and forth.
Yeah.
Hassle. So yeah, it was a great idea and it worked. We had hundreds of thousands of users. It was,
wow.
we had a lot of press. We were on like all the, news stations and a lot of like TechCrunch.
No way.
TechCrunch.
That's
like,
awesome.
A lot of big like tech blogs. So eventually we kind of were like, it was just Bryce and I. We were a little bit burnt out with, and kind of we just knew that it was such a big undertaking. We wanted to like kind of explore other career options for the time being, kind of tabled it. But we had like the wherewithal to keep the site hosted, kept the name. Design Your Dorm is a very organic search term.
Yeah.
If you're going to design your dorm, your room in college, that's what you're
100%.
doing. So
I feel like that could be a file on Pinterest.
Yeah, that's right
Design
up.
my dorm.
Exactly.
exactly. So we kept it all these years. And in the meantime, I went into the family business to just temporarily work there and kind of figure out my next step. I did not think I'd be here talking about my career in the jewelry business. Literally 8 years later, or 7 years later. So I temporarily was there. So Stephen and Company Jewelers, my dad started it like 35 years ago, and started from a little mart, in LA. Moved on to a location in Beverly Hills, which ended up being a gold mine of a location. I mean, we're literally in the heart of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and classically so at that point.
Yeah, 2 blocks west of Rodeo. So it's a medical street. So we have
interesting.
like 3 prominent doctors in our building. We're in a main medical building with the first floor facing the sidewalk location. So it's
right.
So every patient needs to walk in the hallway and pass diamonds and watches as they go to their doctor. So they're like, oh, this is a good distraction.
Or like they went to the doctor, got some bad news. All right, retail therapy, let's go.
Boom.
Yeah. And I can always tell which clients those are. I'm like,
That's so sad, but so
yeah. It looks like you just got a shot of something. You're kind of numb. Like yeah, I need some like diamond therapy. So I
cool.
Yeah, I was temporarily there, and I just basically the minute I got into it, I just learned that every day is different there. Like,
right.
You have your 9 to 5 where you kind of know what to expect. In my day-to-day job there, it's like I have no idea what celebrity I'm going to see. I mean, TMZ's outside of our door every day. Like,
really?
Oh, I can imagine.
I can imagine that.
Because there's 3 ear, nose, and throat doctors. So imagine every singer, like actor, anyone who uses their voice as their career, they're going to be going to our building. So
Right.
So we're always seeing celebrities, and based on my dad being there for 30 years, he's garnered a huge, clientele of, producers, of like just managers of these celebrities, and also
Sure.
celebrities themselves. And so the first like year in the business, I was just like kind of taken back by it. Like I've always heard stories of my dad telling me who he saw, that you kind of take that with a grain of salt. And then once you're there, you're like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
So
It's all coming to reality.
exactly.
Yeah.
So then I got, into, well, what am I interested in within this jewelry business? Because there's such a vast majority of, ways you can go, whether it be like colored stones, just diamonds, like antique jewelry, modern jewelry. Like,
Right. And then you get
custom
into
designing.
watches and everything that comes with that artisanship of, yeah.
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 And watches is what I actually gravitated towards. Like,
Oh, cool. Okay.
from the outset. Because, I mean, if you think about what a guy wears jewelry wise, I mean, I don't want to say he's limited, but like typically the average guy doesn't wear a whole lot of jewelry. So
Right.
a watch is like a one statement piece that kind of
It's timeless.
defines your style.
It's timeless.
It's timeless.
You know? I mean, dude, I know. I worked in a jewelry store for 2 years.
That's right.
I totally
You
forgot
know?
about that.
I
yeah.
worked in one for
Yeah.
2 years, learning the ins and outs, how they do shit, and it was a great learning experience. And it taught me a lot. It taught me appreciation for not just like the material itself, as appreciating like gold and stuff like that, but the style and seeing the art in it, how Rolex does their watches,
Yeah.
like why are they so great? Yeah, they have a great name. They're also amazing quality. And there's so much that goes into the mechanics of it. If you're even talking about base jewelry, like rings and stuff, like there's a craftsmanship to this shit. And
yeah.
and you learn to appreciate that. So I totally feel you.
Yeah.
You.
That's right. And you were doing sales essentially at the
I was doing assisting in sales.
Yeah.
In the Palisades at Jamie
Jamie
Geller.
Geller,
yeah.
Jamie Geller Jewelry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. On my way here, I was like remembering that you worked there. I wasn't sure how long ago that was. And so you have
that
you have
was definitely a while ago.
a
That
2-year
was-
background though in that industry. So you kind of
Yeah.
know what
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know to the extent that
Yeah.
you know, but
Ain't
yeah.
no TMZ outside.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah.
remember coming to your shop, and I remember looking at, some Daytonas
Yeah.
and stuff like that for my boss, just kind of seeing, because he wanted me to check up like with you. I
Yeah.
told him about you.
That's
and,
right. I
And
do
he
remember
was
that.
like, oh my God. I can't remember if he did get a Daytona or not, but I know he didn't
Yeah.
get one from you.
Yeah, I don't believe it was.
but-
That was so long ago, but
Yeah, it was so long ago.
Plus, from what I've heard, like the new Daytonas anyway, straight from Rolex, are extremely hard to get at the moment. Like,
Are they like?
yeah, that was one of
limited?
we were kind of talking about earlier, like what watch is, kind of a standout, like
like
I
rarity
guess
wise?
the staple.
Or-
just a staple, the value, like what is an iconic watch. And I mean, Jken just said it, it's Rolex, period. Like,
Yeah.
and then Daytona
Can't
is
go wrong.
currently, and it always has traditionally been like one of their most popular models, but right now it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
so what happened? They came out with a new ceramic version of their watch, the Daytona. It's simple. It's a white dial, black dial.
Classy.
But yeah,
Okay.
classic, but like ceramic dial or ceramic bezel, which differentiates it from the previous model, which was non-ceramic.
Okay.
And it like honestly, it's a beautiful watch, but it doesn't look that crazily different than the previous model. But it is going for retail. It's a $12,400 watch.
Right.
It's selling right now for over $20,000.
Jesus.
Damn.
Shit.
And we're talking like used. Like,
Wow.
so it is that kind of shows you like where Rolex stands as far as like desirability.
And
Plain and
I mean-
simple. I mean,
and, yeah.
Mhm.
Also, from what I understand, like, I'm sure you're not the only shop that offers this, but you're the first that I knew about.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure like how this works as far as like contractually between you and Rolex and whatnot, but people can, like, you guys buy used Rolexes and refurbish
Exactly.
and like literally, I'm not talking like polish. I'm talking like you
Service,
guys
refinish it.
yeah, like replace parts if they're
It's like by the end of it, you wouldn't even
needed
be
and
able to
stuff.
tell
Like,
it was used. down
right.
there.
No
Yeah.
way to tell that it's
Yeah.
even used. Because I remember coming into your shop,
Yeah.
it looked like brand new fucking watches.
And that's
Like,
what that's what's unique about our business, and what I actually see as like kind of the future and current trend is that people are realizing the minute you walk into a Rolex store and you buy it full price, the minute you take the stickers off, the price goes down. I mean, that's just a
Right.
matter of if you buy a car.
it's car. Yeah.
You buy a BMW, the minute you drive off the lot, it's like decreased by 20, 30%, and then you drive it for however many years. But if you buy it used, you've already kind of, the previous owner experienced that drop in price.
Mhm.
And then you actually have the opportunity that this watch could actually go up in value. So you're essentially like renting a watch, right? So say I buy a Rolex Submariner. That's another one of their staple, I think you're wearing that right now.
I'm wearing one right
Okay,
now.
you're wearing
I'm
that. So
right now.
you buy that watch, whatever you paid for it, say it's $5,000, $6,000, you could sell that 10 years from now for the same price. It might even go up in value depending on the year or the condition.
Their value retains.
So
Well, it's like
not
Submariners have gone up $500 in the past like year or two
Yeah.
just off of used watches.
but those
It's-
were
it's
also
wild.
those
Yes.
were well produced. Those were well produced as well, right?
There's a lot, 100%. And again, there are other watch brands that just are way higher advanced than Rolex as far as movement's concerned. It's just, I think
Like
Rolex
mechanically.
Mechanically.
Okay.
like yeah. There are other watch brands, obscure ones you've never heard of that are 20 times more complicated than a Rolex.
Well, even like Richard Mille, which I thought
Richard. I'm like, yeah.
But see, I
Great
almost
example.
thought that was like the Lawrence Graph of watches in a way because
Yeah.
it became the price point was already so astronomical.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, this is brilliant as far as the ingenuity and the craftsmanship, but that's not why the people that are buying those weren't necessarily attracted to
They
that.
wanted
point.
it for the name.
It was
Yeah.
a
Like,
state.
they
It was
wanted
more of a
for the-
statement piece
yeah.
that died
Yeah.
off really quick.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I felt happened with, how the hip hop industry, for example, has influenced watches. And that was actually one of my questions, harking back to your interest specifically on the Rolex side of things, was it sort of went from Rolex, then Hublot, thanks to Jay-Z, then Audemars, and then now Patek, which is sort of on the back end as far as like the Nautilus is concerned, because so many rappers were icing out
yeah.
and
Everything.
drilling into the
Everything.
watches and killing
Yeah.
values.
Yeah,
And then-
It's a good point.
Yeah, I'm just curious how does that affect value if you drill into a Rolex, make it quote custom, but you're adding diamonds to it.
Yeah, it kills
Like,
it. Like however you slice it. If it's not original, if it's a Patek watch and you have some jeweler wherever, actually, however good their job is of of putting
Icing it out,
pave
or-
diamonds, icing it out, the watch. If it's not original, the value will not retain. It's going to go down in value. It's not recommended. You
You're
wanna-
banking. You're banking on the value of the diamonds you've invested into
Yeah.
the watch. At
and
that
people,
point.
it's almost sad because people think that they're adding value to it, and so when they come to sell it, because I've seen so many of them, I know immediately this is aftermarket, and I have to tell them, look, like,
they'll trash the watch and keep
You've-
the diamonds at that point.
yeah,
Like,
it's materials plus the name of the watch, yeah, but it's not increasing it. Bottom line, it's totally decreasing it.
damn.
That would be
Um,
such a stomach dropping feeling.
I know.
of, like,
I
I
know.
paid so much in just labor, and now it's like not even.
I mean, you'd imagine
like-
these people who can afford to do that might already, somewhat be able to take a hit, like,
Sure,
Right.
fair enough.
but
Right.
it's a good problem to have, I guess you can say.
They're investments. They are
yeah.
investments, especially for the cost. Like, yeah, like as you were saying, I personally, I'm never gonna buy a new Rolly.
Yeah,
I will
just doesn't.
buy a used one. Like
Yeah.
even Tag or someone like that. Like I would still just buy used because they're just as good. They're
Mhm.
just as good. If they come from places like yours, I would consider them just as good. I do get a little skeptical around pawn shops,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
like with Jay.
Just a
like,
little
you know.
dodgy.
Jay's worked out though.
He was
because,
lucky. He was lucky.
Yeah.
And I think he found his is perfect. It's flawless,
What
But
did you have again? The Submariner?
Explorer 2.
he's the Explorer too.
Yeah.
Now you
And-
guys know I don't really know much about
Before they
watches.
came out with the next gen
The
Explorer
new
2.
one,
And then, he has the original gen of the Explorer 2.
Okay.
But I guess my question was like going through that lineage of how trends can change as they do with fashion, jewelry, I think is somewhat applicable the same way.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you think in a jeweler's eyes has made Rolex the constant above all of the other, luxury watch brands?
I think it's actually goes back to one of the points that I was making earlier, that the new Daytona that's come out, it's slightly different. It's not, they don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, if you look at like a magazine of every year of the Rolex, different models, like they all look pretty much the same. They're all classic.
Right.
They don't go off the beaten path of just, oh, we're going to reinvent this and just add a crazy, you know, bezel, add a crazy crown. Like they just keep it super simple. They work phenomenally well. If you service it when you're supposed to service it every few years, you take care of it. It's a lifetime watch.
Right.
So I think that's like, and it's iconic because it's, you know, it's never going to go out of style.
Yeah.
And they're also well made. So if you take care of it, it lasts forever. And their marketing is also pretty phenomenal too. I mean, if you go to the airport, you're going to see the Rolex clocks. You're going to see it.
The classic date just style.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Granted, they've been around for like 100+ years.
Yeah.
You know, so they've had time to like really earn that name for themselves, you know. And they're
their
UK,
reputation
right?
just
Brand?
They're Swiss.
They're
yeah.
Swiss. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Paul Newman made the Daytona where it was
Right.
we were talking about.
Right.
He made that watch just absolutely iconic because he wore it in one of the films I probably should know the name of, but ever since
Where
then,
Paul Newman was a race car driver.
yeah.
I forget
Like, he
what
was
that
in
was.
some sort of
Which
like
would totally make sense why they call it a Daytona.
yeah Daytona 500, you know,
Exactly.
and he wore it, and like it just became since then it was just like
Which is crazy.
I need that watch,
How
you
often
know?
does that happen? Like, how often do watch companies that are well named like Rolex?
Well, you
just,
think James
like,
Bond with Omega?
exactly.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
There's some big athletes with tag.
Oh, true. And golf. Golf is another
Golf.
huge.
Tennis,
Tennis
you're
and-
right.
tennis and golf.
Tennis and golf.
They
are
played to the
huge.
strengths of the audiences that are watching. Obviously,
Same
there's
with,
any
like,
good
polo.
branding, but
So if you think of all these sports and that we're talking about, they're all kind of like upper class like
It's that
activities.
prestigious
So
level.
it's essentially a symbol of like success, I guess you can say.
right.
Yeah.
That's why every rapper is like, once they get, you know, their
Successful, or-
their
I need
first
that
deal,
I need that presidential.
I need the gold
I
iced
need
out
the
president.
presidential. Always.
Bust down.
Always.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what it is.
I'm
And
trying to hear about those pro croquet players. Like,
But see, that's
just
funny.
got this new Explorer, bro.
But that's funny though, because then when people used to go to Jacob the jeweler and get their
Oh,
shit
yeah.
iced out completely before Jacob went to jail, it was
Mhm.
like, and then that's sort of, I know Ben Baller's story. That's when Ben Baller took all of Jacob's clients ethically,
yeah,
because Jacob went to jail. They had nowhere to go. So all these
Right,
rappers were like,
right,
let me
yeah.
slide in here. And he just sort of took over the game with that. But
yeah,
now the funny thing is, you know, ASAP Ferg will have a track like Plain Jane, where it's like now rocking the straight up plain stock Prezi is like the shit again, which I think is super sick.
I like it
Yeah.
because you're keeping the integrity of the watch. And
Yeah.
it's kind of the smarter way to do it, and it's clean.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Keep it clean, people. Keep it
Yeah.
clean.
Well, I guess, and going to that, because there's so many jewelers, you know, and you guys have a reputable name, you're honest, you know, trustworthy. I guess, you know, with what you know in this industry, what are some of like the red flags for people, say, looking for like an engagement ring or a new watch or, you know, even a new custom piece? Like what are, because I'm sure there's so many people that, you know, got, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like
Yeah.
somebody wants a new Cuban link. One link is 14K, one link is 10K, one link is 18K, and it keeps going. And then they find out their necklace is this hodgepodge.
yeah,
Man,
Yeah.
and it's like, how do you trust somebody off the cuff?
yeah. I mean, I think essentially it's doing your research and knowing someone who's been in the business for a long period of time. I mean, I'd say like almost all of our clientele is based on referrals, word of mouth, because if I sell someone a watch and they're happy with it, they're going to tell their friend,
Right.
their brother, their dad, you know, and then that creates a whole, you know, another group of people who are going to come in. And so reputation and trust are like the two things that as a jeweler you have. And the minute you screw that up, you
You lost them.
you lost them, and then they tell other people and you're done. I mean,
Yeah.
so there's been so many stories I've heard of, you know, bad situations that have happened with, you know,
Dude,
know,
horror
what was
stories.
the one in the Palisades?
I know.
That other one?
Yeah.
What
Wait,
happened?
elaborate. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
what
totally
happened?
out of the
Oh,
loop
that
here.
was like, it was, I forgot the name of that
Yeah.
now. It was like Benton?
am I supposed
Or
to?
no?
Am I allowed to say the name of the?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're out
it
of
was-
business, so,
yeah.
you
No, it
know.
was Denton's.
Dentons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was doing a lot of, like extracurricular activities with his. I mean, he was basically, he wasn't very honest and.
Yeah,
trustworthy in that. I don't know.
heard he was
There's a lot of
like
stuff with
being
him.
really scummy with
Yeah.
like the money situations of how he charged people and stuff like that. And yeah, it
Yeah.
basically ended up you lose trust. And when a person goes into a jewelry store, in my opinion, and they don't know anything, whether it's watches or engagement rings, like you said, Ben, I think they're trusting you to give them the correct information so they know. And that was one of the things I learned working in a jewelry store was that at Jamie Geller, like they would always educate you on everything and then let you decide what you think you want. Okay. Like, and I was like, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and taking advantage or just like
So
you said,
he was just
losing
like
it.
manipulating people to pay more money for what the jewelry they bought was worth. Because I'm still a little lost here.
Yeah.
I'll let you take over.
Well, I don't know the full extent to what he was doing, but it was just, I don't know. It wasn't very honest. And I think he was, I don't really know the full background. I just know that it all kind of caught up with him in the end, and he owed people a lot of money, and
Right.
maybe whether it be he was overcharging for certain things. And I think he probably, I think he sold, I think one of the big things, I believe this was Denton's, is that he sold, I think it was some sort of NFL player as an investment, some diamond that was worth a few million, and it was
not.
at a certain point, the player wanted to cash out, and it was
shit.
completely not even close. And then after that, a lot of other lawsuits, and you just kind of
And that's the thing.
when it rains and pours,
It's not just like one or two bad Yelp reviews. You had enough people to shut your
had a lot of
business
people.
down, and he was around for a long time.
How long was he around for?
I mean,
Years.
ever since I've been
Ever
in Palace,
since I had
last
seen it,
20
yeah,
years
man.
plus, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
like,
that's a weird business to even try to, or not a weird business because it sort of will inherently go that way with scummy people, but it's sort of like that neighborhood in particular is the wrong crowd. Like that's the weirdest
It's the
thing.
last place to be if you're going to try that.
that's what he was doing.
Yeah,
He was being
because
a
God
dirtbag.
forbid
That's true.
you're at the Veuve Clicquot like polo match and the couple next to you, the wife looks at your wife's ring and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and it's like that's that crowd. And they'll look at him, and then you'll start getting self-conscious. Why'd she look at me like that? You go to the jeweler, you get it checked out. He's lying to you again. You go to a different jeweler. You go to Geller or Stephen & Co.
Yep.
And then they tell you, yo, I'm so sorry. This, like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do anything for you, but this is what it is. And then that's what happens. It's like,
and you can't break that trust.
no, it's like
that's
the worst road
that's
to
a
go
bond.
down.
That's a commitment, especially if someone buys an engagement ring. You know everyone and their friends are going to be asking them, "Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Oh, nice Rolly. Where'd you get that?" People want to know. Like, even if they if they're even fathoming getting something like that, you already earned that immediate trust from their friends and family just by having them say, "I got it from Stephen & Co."
Yeah.
And it's just like, boom, like they walk in already kind of having a trust factor for you because their friends and family have done that. And, real quick, the story on that topic was I was with Tori and I was with her cousin and her fiance, and they were telling me this crazy story about their engagement ring. And, I saw the engagement ring. I thought it was beautiful, and I thought it was very nice. It was good quality. And basically, the jeweler called them, what was it, 6 months?
No, it hasn't even been that long.
No?
It was a few months.
Several? 3?
Several months.
Yeah,
Yeah, she had to get it. So she took it in to get it resized.
She took it in to get it resized.
And then they called her while the ring was in the shop.
Okay, that's how it came up. So she was getting it resized. They called her or him, whichever, probably him. And then they basically fucked up and they were like, "Hey, so we actually found your diamond.
What?
The one you're wearing is the wrong stone."
yo,
What?
And I'm gonna tell you right now, at least in my experience,
Wow.
and I'm sure you agree, that doesn't happen.
Wow.
For several months to pass,
you can't
and
let that
not
happen,
see this.
dude.
And you know what though? They were honest. They said, "You know what? After resizing it, we actually found the original stone that he
Okay.
had purchased.
I thought you were going to say that this was a different jeweler they went to.
They went to the
so
same.
it was the same.
It
So
was
that's
the same jeweler.
They're honest though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a really pretty huge mistake. That's never happened. But
It does not happen.
but they honestly said, "Hey, this is what happened."
and they said,
Wow.
we're gonna replace the stone.
That's good.
We're gonna replace the stone with the original one you bought, which, by the way, he was worried about because he was like, "Fuck, she loves this one. Like, is this gonna be a shittier quality visually?"
Mm-hmm.
You know. But it ended up being a larger stone, same quality as the previous, and they tacked on $1,000 credit or something like
Nice.
that, you know? And I was like, you know what? I would still stay with them for the fact that they were honest. They did several months. They could have totally just swept this under the rug, get that extra money, sold your stone for an additional.
Exactly.
And
Noah walks back in. Who are you?
but and yeah, so I get it. I get the whole trust factor.
Yeah, I mean, it goes two ways too, though. I mean, from the customer's perspective, I mean, if you're in the market for an engagement ring, you want to get the lowest possible price, right?
Right.
So sometimes you'll compromise on your you go, oh, well, I'm gonna head to downtown and go to one of these vendors and just scoop to save $500. I'm gonna get either whether it be a Rolex or an engagement ring, and then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get just taken because you don't know what you're looking for. So it's from the consumer perspective, you just need to know whether it be a referral. I mean, even Yelp, go on there and you'll find out quickly. Just like any other business, who's reputable but yeah, it's definitely a business, just like a car mechanic that you want to know who's working on your car.
100%.
And if they say your transmission's
Agree
out,
with
you
you
want
on
to know
that.
that it's actually out.
Yeah.
It's not an oil
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
I came in for an oil change. Well, you need a new engine.
Let me just
okay.
let me just clip your brake line real quick so you come back. No, and that actually works. It has there's a duality to that because then it's sort of like, oh yeah, I totally helped your friend Susan. Yeah, she came in and got this. Yeah, how can I help you? And then it's like you
Don't
build
bring
this-
my mom into this.
Shouts out Susan Mirsch. No, but
her
yeah,
last name's not Mirsch, but that's okay. I still love you.
Watanabe. Sorry, my fault. But yeah, and so it ends up having this really great residual effect in the long runs, and then you sort of skip that initial first impression in a way, because then it's I know your friend Susan, so you're good people's, and then you can take it from there. And
And for me, I mean, it's my dad's been in the game for a long time, 30 plus years, and he has this reputation. At the same time, all his clients are getting older, so they kind of, there's different levels. Once you've had every piece of jewelry, and you get kind of over it, you don't have events to go to. So now I'm kind of the younger generation. I mean, this past year and a half, I've seen 10 of my close friends get engaged, and most 9 out of 10 come to me. So
Right,
I'm
right.
always, the go-to person because
100%.
they know me, and they want to give me business. They want to be they know that they can trust me, and I'm gonna give them the best, kind of, product
A real
for their
price.
budget, the real
A
price.
real price.
And yeah, that's why the engagement ring process is kind of fun for me, because it's well, first of all, I get to know who's getting engaged first, because it's I have a bunch of close friends that I grew up with. Even half of them pretty much went to U of A as well. So we're all a tight knit group of friends from West LA that grew up together, and now I'm seeing them one by one, getting engaged. And it was one of those things that once one proposed, it was a domino effect. Oh, well, he did. So it's every month it's a new hit up. Hey, at this point, most of them are either engaged or married, but being part of that process is cool because as a dude, do you really know what you got a diamond and say that looks nice.
That's shiny.
That's shiny.
Yeah.
I think she'd like it, but I would have no idea if I wasn't in the business.
Do you know what kind of cut she wants?
Yeah.
There's so much more.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. My girlfriend, she knows I worked in jewelry, so she pretty much already knows.
Got some background.
I know what she wants.
There you go. Yeah.
But it
Not
helps.
shy with the hints either.
It helps. Yeah, she's not shy about it.
But plus,
good.
the other cool thing is them coming to you. You already know their personalities transparently.
True.
Exactly.
So you're
Yeah.
all right, dude, I got the thing for you, Steve. I got the thing for you, Ryan. Your
Yeah.
girl's gonna love this. I know Brittany. She's gonna go crazy for this.
Exactly.
I'm making up
You
fictitious
picked
names.
the
I
whitest
don't know these
fucking
people.
names I've ever heard.
My bad, man.
Look, it was Chad, Brad, Kyle, and Chad Jr. Like, jeez.
I'm thinking of the Sandlot. That's what I was doing in my
okay,
head.
okay.
Slowly, Sandlot grown up. But you know what I mean? That's so cool. So then you sort of, get creative yourself with
Yeah, I mean, thank God for
working with them.
Pinterest, to be honest. I never thought as a male I would ever go on Pinterest, but it's been like my best friend. As far as
Interesting.
I'm like, if a guy comes in, he has no idea what she wants. I'm like, go to her Pinterest page and just see like what she's pinning. I mean,
What she's pinning.
yeah, talk to a relative, get hints, but Pinterest, because a lot of times they'll save like pictures of what they want.
Sure.
And so, anyways, we can basically, our jewelers that we work with can duplicate pretty much anything. So, based on a picture, it's like game over. We can pretty much nail any ring. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome, and that's a special moment to be able to give that to, especially your friends of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be able to provide
Yeah.
that for them.
yeah, and that's what one of the questions that, even though it may be somewhat uncomfortable in the beginning, one of the first questions I have to ask is, what's your budget?
Right.
You know?
Of course.
And it's
Sure.
like, it's not me being, pretend. It's just, I need to know, because I don't want to show, whether it be someone I know, a good friend of mine, or just any client for that matter. Like, I need to know what their budget is so I can get something that, is the best quality, for that price point.
Right.
And once that hurdle is, pretty much most people, once you ask them, they're open about it. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Because they're there for a reason.
yeah, I
And they
mean,
wanna- yeah.
we're all in the same boat. I'm trying to get you the best thing possible for your budget. So,
Exactly.
once that's kind of figured out, it's just design, and that's the fun part, because we source the stone. If we don't have it in stock, I work with a number of diamond sources that deliver to us, and we can just actually show loose diamonds to the clients. And
Cool.
aside from like what's on the paperwork, like you get to like, I know it might sound kind of cheesy, but what speaks to you? Like, you look at something, you're like, something about this just like stands out.
Yeah.
And that's what I always encourage people to, go with, because there's so many details on a diamond. Like, there's certain inclusions in it that make it a different value. There's obviously the size that everyone always talks about, but bigger isn't always better
Well, that was
in
actually,
that regard.
well, yeah, and that,
Yeah.
and that was going to be one of my questions. It's sort of like, I feel like, people who can't necessarily, obviously want to do the most for the person they're marrying, who they love and whatever, but I feel like they put too much, or maybe their
Person
significant
on to marry
other
or,
may be putting too much
whatever.
pressure on them to go above and beyond
Yeah.
their, financial bracket necessarily. And I feel like, as a jeweler, do you feel like, at times that people are like, dude, like, you're pressuring yourself way too much, like, ease up, homeboy, and just trust me, this is a better alternative, and you'll feel much less anxiety when you, like, when your wifey goes to sleep and,
Yeah.
you're not sweating bullets over
Yeah.
here.
That's a real concern, 100%, that, it's kind of keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I need to have this, like, this ring that when we go out and she's wearing it, people are just going to like all over it. And
Jaw
there's
drop.
something, there's something to be said for that. Like, great if that's like your lifestyle. But if you really can't afford it, I've kind of steered people in certain directions. Like, if they'll give me a kind of a ballpark, you can get a sense of like, they'd rather stick to this price point versus going,
Above and beyond.
above and beyond.
whatever,
I always say like, stick with what you're comfortable with.
Cool.
And the cool thing about diamonds is you can, adjust certain, whether it be, you can like I don't want to say compromise, but you can, bring certain levels down where the price
There's a
point-
hierarchy to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get a bigger size and maybe lower color, and it's still like there's a happy medium.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would always steer people in, direction of what's within their budget and what makes sense.
Totally.
You don't want to overdo it in the price point. So,
Yeah.
How do you feel? And Ben brought this to my attention. I don't even remember when we spoke about it, maybe yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh, I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
I don't.
How
What's
do
going
you,
on?
how do you feel about synthetic diamonds?
very interesting topic because they're so hard to tell.
Yeah, that
They're
that's
so
literally-
hard to tell.
I was
They have like so many of the qualities of a real diamond. That's like, and De Beers is now like,
right, and so
supposedly-
that's
I mean,
For those of you that don't know, synthetic diamonds are just
They're-
basically made in a lab.
In a lab,
they're
yeah.
just fucking.
They're just not found in the
they're-
ground.
I can't even say fake diamonds. They're real diamonds. It's just the process is sped up through a lab that you don't have to like mine it and press it and go through this whole process. It's just done in a lab and there's a diamond.
Because for those of you who don't know, all a diamond is compressed carbon. So that's the scientific process of how a diamond's made naturally, which the conversation came up because I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson give a talk about how he was blindfolded, taken to a De Beers factory just before they were starting it up because they didn't want him knowing, where it was and how it was made. They brought him blindfolded into a room and then pulled out some of these diamonds. He asked one of the De Beers people, can I borrow one of these? And of course, he's Neil deGrasse Tyson, so they're like, okay, yeah. He took it to a jeweler in the Diamond District in New York. The dealer couldn't tell the difference. He was just like, okay, where did you get this? Because this is one of the most pure diamonds I've ever seen. And he explained it to him. He's like, this is dangerous. So it's like, that's the aspect. Because I know some people out there may say, I don't want a synthetic diamond. It's not even from the earth. They think it's
fake.
Like,
they
what
think
is it?
Wait, so it's like...
It's interesting.
In short, it's kind of like, let's say you get like totally different genre here, but like, a brand name medication and then there's generic. It's the same components.
No, I want Xanax.
It does the same thing.
I'm anxious.
I'm almost
Xanax.
like thinking like, all right, I want a 20-foot tree in my yard of my choice, but I don't want to plant it and make this shit grow. I just want a tree here now. They'll grow that shit instantly somehow, and it's there.
It's gonna look, if not the same, even better than the original.
Exactly. And I think one of my other questions was towards that I spoke about with Ben, was I'm just curious about how it holds up against the test of time, because a diamond is known for being forever. Okay. Maybe and these things haven't been around long enough for us to know, like, oh, that's 100-year-old diamond, but we don't know about 100-year-old synthetic diamond. Is speeding up the carbon process possibly changing its structure in a sense that it won't last the test of time versus something that's kind of naturally earned that right, So
I mean, obviously I'd always veer straight to a naturally created diamond, because at the end of the day, I mean, not only value, I mean, if you try to resell a synthetic diamond, I mean, the value is like a quarter of what it's actually worth.
They can tell.
Yeah, if they can tell. So it's at the end of the day, you want to get the original. Just like we were talking about watches, do you want to do an aftermarket, Patek Philippe watch with just complete diamonds over it? Like, no.
That's actually a good point.
But yeah, it looks cool.
It would be a nice
watch. It looks just like maybe the original version. Maybe they came out with this. But at the end of the day, it's aftermarket. It's not the real deal.
What is the cost difference, by the way?
Yeah,
a lot.
Like,
synthetic.
I haven't seen enough of them to really know. I don't.
Would
know
you say
them.
they're cheaper?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because I don't know. This is why we got you on.
100%. It's cheaper, but it's just scary from our perspective, because it's, as you said, a jeweler was shown a synthetic diamond and couldn't tell the difference because it has all the properties of a real diamond.
You don't want some rich kid who knows someone who can make all of these diamonds, or some smart ass kid who's super rich, and now he just put up a website. You can buy synthetic diamonds off my website, and they're like, Jesus, that's
I think
hurting.
it's what Tay was talking about as far as like how Rolex has stood the test of time, because even everything that's faked almost to a T out of China, like new Rolexes and everything else that are so close to an original, but they're just not there. They're missing that X factor 5-10% that hits them where
they want
the craftsmanship is at a Rolex or something. So I think that's a good point, where that's the separate difference. And then there's also the journey that a diamond goes through. Granted, like conflict free.
Obviously, conflict free. I'm not. Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
But that was actually something else that came to mind when we started talking about it. Like, how do you find, like, in knowing the back end behind the curtain of that industry, as far as like, we've all seen blood diamond and things like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like the surplus of diamonds out there for jewelers, how does our conflict diamonds, is that still an issue today, as far as you know?
I mean, it's kind of twofold. I mean, as far as the synthetic diamonds, as far as conflicting, the blood diamonds, basically it all goes back to the GIA certificate, the lab report of the diamond, which gives you pretty much all the specifics of the color, clarity, carat weight. It's basically sent. So for example, if we purchase a diamond from, an estate, someone who comes in and wants to sell, maybe a diamond they inherited from their grandmother or something
Right.
like that. It doesn't have a paperwork with it. We'll send it to like the actual lab, the GIA,
Oh, cool.
Gemological Institute of America. They're like the kind of standard for like, judging the and grading diamonds. So they don't give you like the original. No one really
Origin.
knows
Yeah.
with a diamond. Like,
They're sort of just looking for signs.
Yeah.
Of, this looks like it came from here, and we get as close to the origin as possible, like ancestry almost.
yeah, exactly. And that and that kind of also goes back to the synthetic diamonds. Excuse me, is they won't have that report. I don't know what they provide on a synthetic.
Yeah,
diamond,
I don't
other
either.
than like an appraisal. I don't know what they paperwork wise say it is, but if there's not a GIA certificate, then I don't want to say you can't trust it, but that's like the sure sign of like what I'm buying is
It's a
what
little
it
less
is.
trustworthy,
If you buy a Rolex, you get some come with papers and some come without papers.
right?
If it's without papers, you're kind of risking that factor of it being either fake.
I feel like that's like a huge risk, especially because
Huge.
it's like, Rolex, like we said earlier, is just like it's timeless. It holds this like prestigious like standard, and without having those papers to say like this is a real Rolex, I personally would not take that risk.
No, not at all.
I
Yeah.
would 100% take that risk.
living on the edge.
But and I know I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was this.
If it was you, I would just bring Tay with you to the other jeweler. And
I was
be
gonna
like,
say,
Tay,
yeah.
it was
There you
monocle
go.
time.
no,
Go.
there was like this
Boom.
chick, and she was, I don't even know how she got involved with this or whatever, but this chick like started this diamond company, and she was at least saying and claiming that her diamonds were not blood diamonds, and she was like laser engraving all of them with like an elephant or with a something, and like just so you knew, obviously when I say it's laser engraved, it's machine lasered to the point where you're not going to even see this with your eye.
You need a loop to,
Yeah, you at least like, which by the way, I did learn how to use.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I did learn how to use that. You don't move, like it's you don't move that, you move the loop, and it's just like all this stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really hard game to play because especially like, I get it. The whole, it's too good to be real.
Yeah.
But if someone's offering you a diamond that can at least be tested and the quality of it's true, and someone's offering it at like a quarter of market value, like a lot of people are like, I just won't tell my wife. Like,
And that's where it becomes tricky when people want to save an extra few $100s. Like in the big scheme of things, it's not worth it. There was a customer who came in like 2 days ago, a woman and her friend, and she basically was trying to buy a secondhand Cartier watch. And she didn't know if it was real or not. So she goes to Cartier, and believe it or not, Cartier, the actual store on Rodeo Drive, they refer customers to us to authenticate stuff.
to authenticate.
And I'm saying, believe it or not that they, not that they send it, their customers to us, but that they don't themselves.
They don't have a specialist.
They won't tell you. They don't do appraisals. Like,
Really?
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they're just retail salesmen, right?
Correct.
Like they're selling new products.
they go, once they sell it, it's like not their business. They go,
Interesting.
they have obviously their premium retail full boat pricing. They sell it. It's like later, if you want to like have it serviced, okay. But like questions about authenticity, they just don't bother with it.
Unreal.
Which is crazy, but for us, it's great because we established a relationship with them. And they,
Correct.
if someone comes in and they want to maybe sell their Cartier love bracelet, which is a whole nother topic, that's a huge market.
Oh, we're getting into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. So those love bracelets are like, everyone wants them, but there's a lot of fakes going around. So customers will go to Cartier and they go, oh, well, we can't authenticate, go to Stephen and Company. So we have people coming in all the time to ask us about, is this real or not? Is it not? So a couple of days ago this week, like 2 days ago, this woman comes in with a Cartier, like Santos is the model. And I mean, it was one of those like things, like the minute I saw it, I knew it was fake. I don't want
man.
to say anything. She's like, yeah, so, I'm buying this from someone, who knows if it's off Craigslist. I don't know where it's from. And she's like, I went to Cartier and, they referred, me to go to you guys to authenticate it. Can you just tell me if it's real? And the minute I held it, it's like,
The weight.
it's not heavy enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not heavy enough. He had a pink strap and a pink bezel. I was like,
no.
unless this is like a limited edition
Never
model,
seen that,
never
yeah.
want. And I happen to have that exact model, like a male version of that model in the store. So I was like, this is perfect. I can just show her.
Just compare that.
Without being,
Chunkier
without being
version,
rude, I
that's-
kind of
yeah.
said like, like, yeah, it looks really good, but let's compare it to the real model or
Or
the
to
one
your
that-
model.
the
To
model
your
Yeah,
model.
I slipped there. The one I have in stock, I know is a Cartier Santos. And so yeah, I literally put them side by side, and it's like, I was like, yeah, I don't think that yours is authentic. You can take a look, and the minute she like saw it firsthand,
man.
she was like,
Yeah.
Got it.
okay.
It's funny because I've actually been to that Cartier store,
Yeah.
and I had a watch that I wanted to get appraised, and they told me the same thing.
They want
They said, I cannot tell you like the price or value of this watch. And I was like, look, can you tell me in your professional opinion whether you believe or not if this is authentic? And he was like, my professional opinion, I think it's authentic. And I lost it on the way to the pawn shop, and
You lost it?
I lost it.
How did
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, man.
Yeah, I lost it. But yeah, it was a whole thing. I think I put it in my lap, and I got up to go somewhere
Oh,
that
God.
day, and it was in the Cartier bag.
I have to hit you with it,
and
Jken.
I think it fell out of my lap, and I wasn't paying attention, and it was just gone.
let's just say it was fake then at that point. Yeah. So you didn't really lose
Yeah,
anything. It was,
I want to believe. But
It's that story in the
yeah,
background.
it was
thinks
honestly
you're gonna
really,
throw up.
really crushing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
I can't imagine that being a good story.
I know. But you know what's funny too?
No, Carter, it's a real story.
You know what's funny though, thinking about all this, like I realized, like I feel like Louis Vuitton has such a name but doesn't hold the value, maybe because their shit wears and tears.
Their luggage does.
So
Their luggage
their
does.
all right,
Their
all right,
jewelry
no,
does
I'm
too,
talking
though.
no,
fuck their jewelry.
Fuck
their
their jewelry.
trunks.
Their jewelry
trunks?
is
The
plated.
trunks, dude.
Their jewelry is
No,
plated.
their jewelry's plated. No, fuck that.
No.
Their trunks. And fuck Gucci too, because they come out with so much stuff every week now to combat counterfeiters, and that's why they're doing it. But Hermès and Louis Vuitton have something different, because Hermès have the luggage is what's crazy with them, because you have trunks with Louis and then you have Birkin bags with Hermès.
Yeah.
It's the craziest
It's
shit.
basically jewelry. It's jewelry.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, because obviously Carter and I, and I think you too. No?
What?
Was you there with us when we bought that?
No.
No, that was you guys were in Vegas,
So
right?
yeah,
we
we
were
went
in
we went to
Vegas.
Vegas. We established a friendship with one of the gentlemen that worked there. We were like, hey, we'll come back if we have a good night. Had a good night. Came back the next day. We all bought Louis Vuitton bracelets and stuff,
Nice.
and it was great. You know, I look at it now.
Oh,
it's-
mine's tattered.
Mine
as
is
shit.
worn the fuck out, and you know what? If I try to sell it, it's not going to be worth really anything close to what I
yeah.
paid for it. And they plate their shit, which I kind of am bummed about. Like, obviously, I guess, yeah, if it was solid gold, it would probably be worth more. It would cost
Yeah.
more than
Oh,
what
yeah,
I paid
it
for
definitely
it.
would have costed a lot.
But,
more than
you
what we
know,
paid for,
like,
but-
It's crazy though, because yes, their luggage and shit. Like,
Well, I think
get it, you know?
I think every brand company has what they specialize in.
Yeah.
And they make bracelets, and they actually do
Luggage,
they do
belts,
they do a
everything.
smartwatch, right? Like we
They
actually
do a- wait, they do a smartwatch?
I have one. I was gonna for some reason bring it just to show you guys. Like 'cause
Interesting.
The point is that they had to compete with what's out there. Oh, the Apple,
Apple
the Apple Watch. We need to have a Louis Vuitton.
The equivalent of like a
smartwatch.
Vertu phone when
Yeah.
those were popping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have it in our store, and like it was literally a celebrity who was gifted it. You know, they were gifted that watch, so we bought it at like it's a brand new watch. We bought
Right.
it. If any of you are interested, we have that available. It's actually, honestly, it's kind of sick. But
Okay, cool.
point
I'll
being,
check it
it's
out.
not their specialty. Like they're doing it to compete, to be relevant with Apple.
And
In that
Tag
regard.
and Tag
Gotcha.
came out with their smartwatch too.
Exactly.
that I've seen.
Exactly.
It's actually quite dope.
So
but yeah.
and the point being, luggage
Yeah.
is their thing, and that's what they're always going to be known for.
I
And
think
Cartier has silverware. Cartier silverware
I
has
know.
appreciated since the early 1900s.
I was about to say
Like a
that's
motherfucker.
old. That's
What?
super vintage.
No,
That's
for real.
super vintage.
No, my mom auctioned off a bunch of Cartier silverware, flatware.
And that's the thing.
'Cause
You
it
gotta
just
you gotta know the
appreciates.
shit you have lying around your house or your parents' house, because like in some cases, the materials like gold itself is going to be worth like more, like melted down. But in those rare instances, like that silverware, that silverware as silverware is going to hold more value as silverware than the precious metal it's made from.
Well, because it's a historical piece at that point. It's like how Tiffany's, I don't know if you guys knew this, Tay, you might have, how Tiffany's used to be famous for high-end lamps. You know what I mean?
I did not know that.
Antique-wise, yeah, we just sold 2 lamps, antique Tiffany's lamps.
It paid rent this month.
No,
Wait,
but it was
lamp
nice.
Lamps?
We
You know
nice.
what I'm saying though? Like,
Is this Christie's, or how did you go about selling it?
I think we went through. Well, my aunt's an antiques appraisal.
Oh, very cool.
So it just sort of worked out. You know, she had amassed this sort of, for lack of a better word, hoarders. You know, gym of all these antiques, and it was just to the point where it was like we were on her, like, you got to do something. Like, this is crazy. There's nowhere to move in this basement. It's just looking like pirate's booty at this point. Like, do something with it. You know, it's like
my pirate's booty sounds so.
That does sound
but it's like this isn't the treasure of fucking Sparta from the Count of Monte Cristo. Like, you're not burying this in an ocean. It's in Vermont. Like, fucking just do something with it. So we ended up. That's what happened. And you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Anyway, that was a total tangent.
But the point is, if you buy something of value, it's only gonna either retain that value or increase, right?
Right. Yeah. It's an investment at the end of the day. It's you're buying quality
completely
that's gonna last, and it's fucking awesome.
What's like the classic, like even in that movie with Ben Affleck? What is it? The Accountant, where it's like what's his getaway scheme?
Oh, he's got like baseball cards,
gold coins, baseball cards, watches, jewelry.
What?
Dude, so
he had the comic books.
So his getaway plan was he had high-end art in Airstream, and he had like high-end art, baseball cards, comics, gold coins.
So shit that's timeless, that will only grow in value.
Yeah.
You know, it's
even
very
cars.
smart.
Like Ralph Lauren has a 1914 Bugatti.
Well, it's like it holds a historical
you know what I mean?
value to it. With time, it just gets more valuable.
Exactly. You know, so
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers. This is vintage tequila, right? This is like some valuable
vintage straight from
the
shelves of Ralph's
at Joe Mexico, bro.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that is so gnarly.
Hit the horn one time.
I don't think Carter's a big fan of tequila.
He's not.
No,
he told us
I am
vigorously before coming tonight. He was like, please don't get tequila.
It's like, thanks to Taylor. Taylor has to come through and request tequila.
I was so stoked when I heard that you requested tequila.
Boom.
I was like, he gets me.
I remember like texting this fool Jken earlier, just being like, "Hey, yeah, you know, just letting you know I'm kind of running low on booze." And he's like, "Oh, it's cool, man. Like, I'm bringing tequila." I'm like, "Nah, please don't." Ben's like, "You mean change that to please do?"
Yeah, dude. I think when I ran into you last time at we ran into you at Shore Bar.
Oh wow, yeah.
A while ago.
That must have been a while ago.
And
I'm due to go back there, but yeah.
Yeah, you were like with your sister and friends, and then I was like, dude, here's a shot of tequila. You're like, my man, and I was like, yeah, dude. And it's like,
tequila brings people together. I'm telling you,
it really does. It's a bonding experience.
Yeah, everyone has their certain type of alcohol they like, and I'm always happy when I'm on this. So
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
then I'm glad we got it for you.
I wasn't gonna come here otherwise.
Carter, he wants to be happy. Let him be happy.
No, it's like no.
There's no lines. I'm walking away.
Like it's just like I have this like limiter where I get to a point where it's like, okay, like I'm good, having a good time. Then I'm like full blown nuts, just like having, you know, pushing it.
Well, we don't want.
There is a fine line though.
There is a fine line, yeah.
So kind of getting back, I actually had a very curious question for you. As far as, do you have people ever come into the store and ask you about grills? Does anyone ever come in and ask you about
grills
that?
on a car or grills teeth?
I would hope he's not doing car stuff.
Hey, I mean, you never
Teeth
know.
Carter.
Jewelry these days.
Dental work.
I don't. I see no jewelry on cars. I'm trying to get some diamond encrusted.
I mean,
doves
look at today's mumble rappers.
That's actually,
what kind of shit are they wearing?
No,
is that really that far fetched?
Well, 6ix9ine just bought like the craziest set of grills I've ever seen at fronts.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, do you have people ever come in? You're a well-established jewelry store. They're in Beverly Hills. You're probably the best jeweler in Beverly Hills. So why wouldn't they come to you?
It's funny. I've had a few requests for grills, and it's very far and few between. I mean, it's like we're a very like diverse store with like it's vintage jewelry, like kind of modern jewelry, watches. We don't do like kind of the more blingy out there type of stuff. So, but with that said, we do have like rappers come in and
Sure.
they kind of look around and go, "Do you guys do grills?" I'm like, "No, but I know someone who does it." I actually recently was on a bachelor weekend about a month ago in Miami.
Oh, sick.
And
Fantastic.
yeah, so on a bachelor weekend, it was my first time there, so I was like super stoked.
Yeah,
One of my best
cool.
friends I've grown up, Justin, shout out. Known him since 7th grade, got married.
Go
or
you, Justin. Congratulations.
Just got married, yeah. And Miami was his destination for the bachelor weekend. And so it was basically all the old school homies plus a few people I haven't, his coworkers and maybe some people I haven't met before.
Sure.
One of the guys is Mark, and he is a genius at grills.
Really?
And so we kind of hit it off immediately. Like we just were, you're in the jewelry business. Huh?
I'm gonna
Like,
request his information at the end of this podcast.
I will also be
No,
requesting.
he is like legit, like the homie, like the nicest guy ever.
Cool.
But he does grills, and he's kind of actually like on the like he was like see my Instagram, and like he has all these like up and coming and some really successful rappers that he does. People hit him up all the time for grills,
Sick.
and so he's like, yeah, man, if we can like collaborate. And I mean, so far we kind of haven't like connected on that level as far as like I just don't have essentially that clientele.
Sure. That makes sense.
But
That's
you
fair.
still
I don't
prefer
advertise
whoever
it,
comes.
but yeah, if someone comes in and asks for it, 100% I would shoot it
Because
to.
I'm low key looking.
Mark.
I'm low key
Yeah.
looking for myself, like because
Cool.
Ben has a pair,
Yeah,
and I really just want to fucks with my bottom canines. So
Yeah.
it's low key. I can hide them.
he had.
They're-
I think he had him that weekend where bottom, or actually he had like
He
a
had the
vampire.
top ones?
Yeah,
Like the
Oh, yeah, the
vampires?
top
It was
ones?
sick, yeah.
Yeah, it was like when I got mine, I remember going to, because at first I wanted to go to iFanco, like Ben Baller's spot, and it was just because I was like reputation and name, and I know that's who he's mostly
Yeah.
dealing with, and
Yeah.
and it was a little out of my price range at the time, so I went to the Slauson Swap Meet. And at first you go in there into the Slauson Swap Meet and you're like, oh shit, I'm in the hood, and I'm white. Like,
The last time I checked,
well,
yeah.
yeah. And it's not even like that down there. And it was a cool experience because you just go in, if you're comfortable, it's like, dude, it's the best place. Like, because I'm a hip hop R&B head,
That's right.
whatever. And so it was like just going in there, it's like kicks, clothes, and jewelry. So it was like, but more blingy jewelry. So the other side of the jewelry game. And I went in there, and then I ended up going to a different jeweler. So I think it was called Mr. Bling or something like that. And
Mr. Bling.
no, they killed it. Honestly, it was 5 minutes in and out.
Is it a bald guy as their logo?
Oh my god.
but he's got grills on and stuff.
Yeah, right. And it's like I went for I ended up, instead of white gold, I went for like silver, like
Do you have them?
I don't have them on me.
Oh,
I should have
okay.
brought them.
Okay.
Dude. Like next time we all go out,
Yeah.
I'll wear them. And what's funny is I went with silver because I was like, look, by the time I'm like 30, no, that's a lie. By the time I'm 30, I'll still be wearing grills. But like by the time I'm 40, I was like, do I really want to invest in like white, like precious metals for this? And I was like, eh. And so I went with silver, and I was like, all right, they still stood the test of time, especially if you get them polished and whatever. Only mistake I made, people out there, do not fucking ever eat if you have grills in. I did that my second day with them on, thinking I was a badass. It'll ruin all your shit.
It'll
don't
ruin it.
Yeah, don't
It'll
do
ruin-
that.
And that's
But-
that's the same with like platinum and stuff. Costs more than gold, but it's a softer metal. It's
People don't realize that.
People
either,
don't realize that.
Is it really?
It's more.
I didn't even know that.
It's more expensive, so it's going to be harder and stuff like that. I'm
Oh,
like,
God.
no, dude. It's softer metal. Like, yes, it costs more, but it's softer metal, so it's gonna like dent and bend and stuff more than something like gold.
Yeah.
Here's a funny thought I had last night, actually. I was like, a friend of mine got on in Invisalign. So she's doing the whole, invisible brace thing, and she goes in stages. So you have like 4 or 5 sets of retainers or, clear braces. And I was like, how wild would it be? I think that's what Post Malone has been doing this whole time, where he's just getting different sets of grills to
Straightening
adjust his teeth over
with-
time.
with
Oh,
grills.
I was like, it would have the same effect,
It
right?
would absolutely have the same. I mean, dude, I had that for a year or two. I was using like Invisalign and stuff
Were you?
to straighten my teeth. So yeah, I had permanent retainers, I had braces, then I had removable retainers,
damn.
and then I had
You were the
dude,
least popular
my
kid
teeth
for years.
were jacked the fuck up. All right, I had that smile that it looked like, yo, don't smile too hard because I think you're gonna pierce your fucking lip. Like it was.
Looking very straight now, though, bro.
Yo, they look great.
Yeah,
$10,000 later, they look great.
Hey, it's worth
But-
it. It's worth it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is people don't like. We were talking about that where she was like, dentists need to stress more to kids. Like the older you get, hindsight's a motherfucker, and it was just sort of like, she was like, yeah, dentists need to stress more about your retainer. I was like, he stressed plenty to me. I just didn't listen.
Yeah,
and it was just sort of like, yeah, okay, you got to cop that, but it was just, now people go for the quick fix and get veneers. So it's just like, which
that's
is
true.
Isn't that I don't know how you guys feel about this. That's the weirdest thing to me because it's like you're grinding your original teeth down to like fangs to put these porcelain veneers over it, and then you have to get them changed out every 5 years.
Oh, I didn't know you had to get them changed out every 5 years. I thought it was longer than that.
It's 5 or 6. I believe it's 5 or 6 years, and then they grind out. They have to literally whittle down your original teeth that are crooked, mind you. But
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It's like athletes,
It's
all of
out
a sudden
there.
they have like these brand new teeth, and you're like,
Oh my
where
god,
did
dude!
those come from?
Yeah, it's unreal, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hockey players.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
they
hockey
break-
players.
Oh,
I
hockey
always
players.
think of Steve-O for some reason when I think of veneers, because it was like one day it was just like pearl whites, and I was like, "Yo, that jackass money's coming in quick."
But I guess so. It's like moving forward. Like, where do you see yourself as far as like what you like your proclivities, like direction you're heading in?
Yeah. Well, I think expanding the business that we have currently, with a new generation of people, I feel like my age, so I'm like, in the 30s now. So pretty much people are, engaged or married,
Right.
starting to make a little more money. So they're, whether it be anniversary gifts or birthday gifts, they have more excess, kind of cash flow to splurge and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think just expanding upon what we have with that, our current business model, and then believe it or not, this whole Design Your Dorm business came full circle,
Oh, word,
and we're like relaunching it. We actually just did a soft launch today.
dude! Congratulations!
yeah,
that's
that's
fucking dope.
awesome.
So hence why I've literally been so busy, like the last, like when I got the message, I think from you first, Benji, about the podcast. I was like, oh man, I have so much shit going on, because we were like just doing everything we could to launch the site.
Yeah.
I just been super swamped with the day-to-day jewelry hustle and full-time job, and then the startup.
Yeah.
And so anyways, as far as where I see myself, I see myself expanding this business, the jewelry business.
Mhm.
I really want to see the Design Your Dorm startup really just take off.
Cool.
But because I've been so involved in the day-to-day with the jewelry business, I don't necessarily want to go back full-time with Design Your Dorm.
Right.
It's kind of more of like what we're doing right now is we found a great tech guy who's fully hands-on from like the ground level up, rebuilding it. We just did a soft launch, so it's up and live, but it's kind of not exactly where we want to be full-time, but like it's version 1, basically.
Cool.
Okay.
So,
would you say it's your side hustle?
I would.
Hashtag side
It's
hustle.
my baby. It's my original idea that I want to see like just take off, and
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
the funny thing is, in life, it's all about timing. I think when we came up with the idea and we launched the site, the idea was great. It was there. It's just the technology was not.
Interesting.
It was
okay.
it was an all in Flash versus like now it's like open
HTML5,
source,
HTML5.
HTML. Like
Yeah.
it's just way more open. Like you can adjust things. Back then it's
yeah.
So, with that said, I want to expand upon my current, business. I have 2 sisters who are never gonna be interested in the jewelry business, and I kind of part of like a legacy thing. Like my dad, he's gonna retire at some point.
Yeah.
Like I'm like the only one really to like
Simba.
yeah.
And we talked about that actually
Totally.
on like the last one or two episodes ago. We were like, are you ever worried about what you're gonna leave behind? What's your legacy? What are you gonna leave behind? And a lot of people, it scares them when they're like,
It's intimidating.
It's a huge like existential question. You know, it's like questioning not just your mortality, but like your purpose.
And that's what. Well, again, we talked about you.
Yeah.
You get to help people. You're changing lives.
For
But
me
it's
to
like-
be
it's
probably
like-
like my like leaving behind is hopefully I want to be publishing a lot of journals and studies in the future, But
and that'll be based
that'd be,
on
like,
your,
my thing.
but that'll be based on the people you interact with,
Exactly,
that you
or-
help, or
any research I want to do on new studies, or anything that I want to try to conceptualize myself without any extraneous factors with it.
yeah.
But here's the interesting thing about like what Tay was saying earlier, where life's kind of strange with how it comes full circle and comes back around, and you don't even really think about it. You can't foresee that. You can overthink it for sure, but overthinking is kind of futile, because then you're just like, you're putting so much effort into something that'll just sort of take its course naturally, and you find yourself in this really beautiful place at the end. So just focus on the now, and I feel like it kind of works out eventually,
Yeah.
Focus on what you're passionate about and where your focus lies, and then just ride that wave.
But as long as you're not lazy
Yeah.
about it, like
No,
you can't
no,
just
no.
sit
Yeah,
around.
it takes
and
work.
You gotta
work your
remember,
9 to
you're
5,
gonna
expecting
fail.
your dreams
Like,
to come
You're
true.
gonna fail at some points, and from that, you're gonna make it a learning lesson, and then make it that much better. Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that would be like, fail, and like, I'm done, I'm out, and they leave. Like, life doesn't work like that.
You're right. And I think one of like the turning points that got me out of the jewelry game, unfortunately, it was my employer at the time was pushing me to be more, to be better. And he was like, look, he has kids now, and he had kids when I was working for him. And I'm sure he would love to like keep the family name, just like you, Tay. And he was like, look, like, I want you to help be a part of this. He's like, do you want to stay in your little gopher hole in the office the whole time? Or do you want to like do something and be a part of something? And unfortunately, when I heard that, I was like, you know what? He's right.
What, it kind of broke your spirit a little bit?
Because no.
Oh.
Because I realized I didn't want to be in this. And I
Interesting.
wanted to focus more on doing design stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know
So
what?
you kind of saw where your passion lied, and like
yeah.
maybe kind of hinted at it.
And I mean, he tried, he wanted me to do well with him. He showed me all the ins and outs. He wanted me to help be more a part of the company, to like kind of run certain aspects of it. But when he said that to me, I kind of was like, you know what? Like, yeah, like this is a great 9 to 5, but
Oh, you're not passionate.
I'm not
about it.
passionate about this. I see how passionate he is about it, and I love that. I see the way he deals with customers, and he loves it, and that's great. Just not for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop out. I'm gonna hop out this, and I'm gonna pursue something in my field that I'm passionate about. So I get, like how you wanna kind of carry on that legacy of Stephen & Co.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I'm open minded about the future. I mean, I know it's not going to be probably forever that I'll be in the jewelry game. I mean, pretty much my goals right now are expanding the business, and then in real estate is kind of like, I mean, we're all talking about what's classically kind of like gonna raise in value over time.
always.
Certain watches,
Real
certain jewelry
estate.
items, whether it be Louis, luggage, like real estate is like the number one.
And
We're
you're in
getting
the,
more
You're in the
people-
right city for it too.
Right?
We're getting
It's
more
so-
people
right
every day in this
Yeah.
world. It's not like the number of houses are growing. The number of space we have for living isn't growing, but
The
the
demand's
people
gonna
are.
be there, man. It's-
So yeah, 100%.
So right now it's the highest ever. I mean, the real estate market in LA is
Insane.
Oh,
as
it's mental.
It's
we were just
mental.
talking about, Justin, like on the way here is like just to rent a place is like stupid. And Brentwood obviously is a very desirable location. That's where I've been living for a lot, the last however many years, and like you're there now. But when you actually go online and like just try to find a place to rent, it's like
It's crazy.
astronomical.
It's gnarly.
For a one bedroom, you're
It's-
spending over,
Dude, it's wild how things have changed. Like we're having our friend Mike on here soon, who is a real estate broker, and he was telling us stories about how people are paying rent for very expensive apartments rather than buying a house, not because they can't buy a house, but because
doesn't make sense.
they're paying a year in advance.
They
of
do a
rent
year
just
in
to get an
advance. Instead of
apartment lease.
purchasing a home, they'll do a year in advance.
So this has become like
rent
Manhattan.
and they'll
And-
rent it out to someone else though.
You know what made the difference? Like growing up here, because I grew up on Barrington.
Yeah.
In Brentwood, it was what made the difference is when I came back from Australia and I started looking in. No offense, your place is like super nice, Jken, 100%. Like I don't mean this in a bad.
Great, where's this coming?
No, because what I was gonna say is
Let me
more,
just dog on your
No.
home real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
fuck that. No, I'm just saying more old school apartments as to the sort of McMansion like developments being
everything's
built up.
new. Everything,
Right. And I appreciate the old California style carport, like dope ass apartments, lounge vibe, like cool. But it was just like the minute I started noticing like crummier apartments on the border of like Santa Monica and Venice, but they all of a sudden had brand new like S class Mercedes in the carports, I was like, oh, the game's changed.
Yeah.
You had never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is like wild now. Because it was just sort of, I don't know, West LA at least was always like this bubble of, I don't even mean this with a negative connotation, like old money versus, you know, the flash and the glitz and the glamour. It had much more laid back. It was a bit more. And so.
It had some grit. Now it's more.
It had grit.
Fancy schmancy.
You look at Santa Monica now. You used to not be able to walk through half of Santa Monica when we were kids. When we were all kids.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's like, dude, like, I don't know. I feel bad for people moving to LA. I commend them, but I feel bad for people moving to LA without knowing the terrain now, today.
You get a home. Yeah. You get a home in another state or something for the cost of a 1-bedroom apartment you're paying for in LA. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. And you know what? Yeah, Brentwood's great. Brentwood's nice. I'll also be real. I don't have a gated carport. My car got broken into like 2 weeks ago. Wild. Like, you know, they bashed the fucking window, stole my shit, and it's kind of like, God damn, I thought I lived in a nice neighborhood. Guess not. Like, you know, it doesn't really matter because also one of the things when you live in LA, people are desperate. People do desperate things.
Expensive, so what are they going to do? They're going to go to the neighborhood they know that they feel is extremely well off, and they're break into someone's car, take their shit, or, you know...
You're totally right.
And it's a huge bummer, but it is the world we do live in right now.
Absolutely.
It's fucked.
Absolutely. You're totally right.
But that's actually, talk about full circle, that's crazy. Because I was like thinking about when I was looking at real estate prices in Westwood, because I used to have an apartment in Westwood, right? And so it was like the design your dorm thing is interesting because I saw how now it seems like the owners of these apartment complexes are sort of exploiting the students. Where it's like,
100%. Oh my God, 100%.
A 1-bedroom in Westwood now is like $2,600 a month.
It's insane.
So it's like there's 4 students splitting a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yep. 4 people
I'm not playing.
in a 1-bedroom.
Oh yeah.
I'm not playing. I had people when I was 19, dude, at 20 in this apartment in Westwood, off Lettering and Kelton, off Veteran. Dude, yeah.
So by exploiting, like they didn't know ahead of time what they were getting into as far as like...
Meaning, I think it was like a gold...
finding a place that's even remotely close.
And meaning on,
like
on the landlord's perspective and the owner's perspective, they were exploiting like, oh, it's a gold rush. Let me jack this up as high as it can. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's always been on the border of Bel Air, but it never was like, at least on the student side, you know, there's 2 sides to Westwood sort of.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like the student side never was like this. And the buildings haven't really been renovated. So it's just like this weird game of, I pity these people, and I'm like, dude.
Capitalism, baby.
And I literally was
weird.
Just talking to Tori
it's healthy,
about
but
this.
It's so inordinate at the same time. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing.
No, we were literally just talking about this, Tori and I, on the way over here, how we were talking about like, it's crazy. These students, whether it be their parents or some job they have, they'll move to Westwood. I'm like, why? Why the fuck are you paying this much for an old ass apartment to live next to a ton of college kids that you know are just like going to be like, oh, I just moved here. I'm going to college at UCLA. I'm gonna have fucking parties.
Yeah. Dude,
I'm
honestly,
gonna have mad parties.
It could be traffic because, you know, on it, like coming from like, you know, some professors are really gnarly. Like if you come late, you're booted, and sometimes they'll just be like, you know what, you don't get any credit, and all those thousands of dollars you just spent to register for that class goes out the window because traffic here in Los Angeles is shit.
So, but that's all of these points, right? It's like, what fucking chance do students have anymore? I'm just saying, dude, I'm going to fucking U of Arizona.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying.
There you go.
But
dude, I mean, honestly, education's so expensive. But that's another topic for a different episode.
Next time.
Yeah. So my goal is to save up money from the jewelry game and buy something.
There you go, man.
So you should buy UCLA.
Just buy UCLA apartment.
Buy some property and
But you know, like, so I think that's great, by the way, about the Build Your Dorm. I think it's fucking genius. And I hope it like, because you're still pursuing it. I hope it like really gets to the point where you can hire a moving crew to build and move that shit in for them. Have an accessories section on the website where it's like, oh shit, they got shower curtains, they got shower racks, they got floor mats, you know, like all the
everything dorm related.
everything
like, 100%.
they can need.
They have lava lamps.
So
Fucking
basically,
lava lamps.
yeah,
Lava
no.
lamps.
So I love it
Yes.
so that basically they can design this shit on the computer.
Yeah.
When they come their first day, whether you make a contract with the colleges for access to the rooms, so that when they come their first day, boom, their dorm is done. It's
Lit.
built. It's already like ready for
Exactly.
them. You know,
And that's the big picture right there. You just nailed it.
oh my god,
From
like
accessories to just like a moving crew to let you, open the door and just
The
settle into your
time-
new
the time
You're home away from
convenience
home.
You're home
is
away from
ready.
home.
Yeah,
done.
I
So,
think it's fucking genius.
Well, it's like we live
Yeah.
in such
So
a,
cool.
a time where it's like, we look for instant gratification and we want to, because everybody's got crazy schedules. So when it comes to
Yeah.
like moving or, getting, accessories or whatever aesthetics you want for your home, it just makes it so much easier to have this platform. And I honestly think it's fucking brilliant.
Why do you think
Thank you.
why do you
Yeah,
think
thank
I
you.
order on
Thank you.
Amazon? Because I don't
Yeah.
want to fucking drive to the store in
Yeah.
LA traffic
Mm.
or like wait in a line somewhere, and I just want this shit delivered to my door the
Yeah.
next day. You know,
So we're partnered with
That's
Amazon. So
fine.
everything we,
Oh,
a user
sick.
uses
Cool.
our site,
Mm.
it essentially takes them to Amazon, and that's where their cart is loaded, and they
Mm.
purchase from there. So
You heard it
great.
first,
Oh,
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen. No shady drop shipping here. This shit is legitimate. It's
yeah,
fucking
this
dope.
is legit. He's not driving his car up, just dropping shit off.
yeah, there you go.
No, man, we all commend you, dude. Like, seriously, and that journey, it's inspiring, man. Like,
Thank you.
seriously.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
We're so happy to, like, even, be able to call you a friend, let alone have you on this podcast. So, I mean, okay, so just to wrap everything up and, full encompass everything, like, what's the best place that people can sort of stay in touch with what you're up to, what to look for in the future,
Sure.
and
both
link-wise?
sides, both
Mhm.
both the companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess Instagram is number one. That's what I primarily use. My personal is tayrob7,
There we
as
go.
I'm sure, I think we all follow each other here.
Yeah, and it'll be posted in the
Um,
description. And
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else.
cool. So with that said, design your dorm, just as it sounds.
.com?
Designyourdorm.com is the website, and the Instagram is Design Your Dorm. And then Stephen Co Jewelers is the Instagram,
Stephen Co. Jewelers.
and StephenCo.com is the website.
Sweet.
So there it is.
Oh, man. Well,
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, dude. Thank
Yeah.
you, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
I'm gonna
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm actually cheers. Yo, clinking all around.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna roll this out tonight with this track by you guys may not know him, the listeners, I mean, and the people in this room maybe. It's this producer and writer Alan Ritter, who's written for Drake, Travis Scott, Cardi B, you name it. Chances are he's written for them. He's originally from Connecticut, from Hartford, and thankfully he responded to me and was happy to have me play his new track "Falling" on as the outro of his podcast. So shouts out to you, Alan Ritter. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because I love everything you're contributing to some of my favorite artists. So let's go. This track is called "Falling."
Lately, I feel the vibes. You play sleep, yeah. I see your eyes. I know you wanna spend time. Cuddle up and be mine. Look, I don't mean to end the night, but I gotta make these moves. Even if that was a lie, girl, you gotta make a move. Don't know how to say it nice, but you want more than what this is. You've been stalling, wanna sleep into the morning. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Going on my phone, you calling. Talking about love, you drawing. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Going on my phone, you calling. Talking about love, you drawing. Took you to this private location. Girl, you don't know how to act. Now you talk about a relationship. Guess I blew your mind in your bag. Right around we go. You don't wanna take it slow. Is it really me that you're into? Nowadays can't believe talk trust issues. I don't mean to end the night, but I gotta make these moves. Even if that was a line. Girl, you gotta make a move. Don't know how to say it nice, but you want more than what this is. You've been stalling, wanna sleep into the morning. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Blowing on my phone, you calling. Talking about love, you drawing. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Oh, don't tell me you falling. Blowing on my phone, you calling. Talking about love, you gotta make a move.
Show no shame.